Two great quarterbacks, two amazing running backs, one great matchup. Let's talk about it. Let's talk Ravens with Yolanda. Today's video, we are going to discuss each player that makes up the offensive line. Well, all right. Good evening, family. Welcome into the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone had a really nice Thanksgiving. And I wanted to come tonight because I thought about going to live tomorrow night. But listen, tomorrow night, the Florida Gators play the Florida State Seminoles, and I'm a Gators fan, so I have to watch that game. So I said, no. I have to be here for my family. I have to be here for the Ravens fan base. We got to get together because this game, to me, is a game that is going to be a true litmus test for the Ravens. We're really going to find out who we are. And I think this is probably, as this season has now unfolded, I think this is probably one of the toughest matchups that we faced to date. I know we can say the Steelers and, this one, or maybe even the Chiefs, but that was the first game of the season. But now that we are well into the season, I think we are matched up very well against this amazing Eagles team. They are doing very good this season. That being said, this game to me is about the respective defenses. This is a game where we know that both offenses can put up points. That's no question. But after a much needed win for the Ravens last week, but on Monday against the Chargers, we now find ourselves 8-4. Meanwhile, and we're currently the 5th seed in the league right now, in the AFC, I believe. But meanwhile, the Eagles, they've been on a roll. They have won their last 7 games, and they are second, right? They are the 2nd seed in the NFC. Now, I don't know. I got a chance to watch a little bit of the Kansas City Chiefs game, and we'll talk about that toward the end. But anyway, I have my thoughts on that. They look real porous. Okay, the Kansas City Chiefs look very vulnerable, especially going up against the Raiders, 2 and whatever. Anyway, that's not why we're here. But we know Lamar Jackson has only lost 1 game against an NFC team. Right? And that was in October of 2022 against the Giants. So here we are now facing an NFC team that is a very, very good one. Whew. I'm going to say it early and I'm going to say it often during tonight's show because we're not going to be here long. I'm going to put myself on a timer. Let me see if I can put myself on a little timer. I don't even know how to use the little timer thing. So if something starts buzzing later, don't worry about it. It's a timer that I probably botched. But I'm going to say it now and I'll say it again. This game here, the Ravens can certainly win it. But this one is going to come down to what Ravens team we see on Sunday. What I mean by that is this season, we've seen this from our team. We started out flat, cold, question marks circling about this Baltimore Ravens team that was supposed to be it, but we just don't look it. What's going on? Then we move into the games 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We started really finding our way. At least on offense, we did. And we looked so much better. Then over the last couple of weeks, our offense seemed to struggle somewhat, but our defense seemed to really find its stride. So the inconsistency there is what I mean by what team are we going to see? Are we going to see the Ravens team that, as I mentioned, offensive, slow starts, not getting it going, penalties that are, shooting ourselves in the foot? Are we going to see that team? Because if so, it's going to be a long afternoon. We play at 4 o'clock. We have a 4 o'clock game. So it'll be a long afternoon for us. Or are we going to see the offense that really gets it going, remembers who we are, puts Derrick Henry on the field, leaves him there, allows him to be that back, that bruiser running back that we need him to be this game. Because if that's the team that we are, and if we find a way to limit these offensive penalties, I think we're in a good place. I think we're in a good place. But that also comes at the question of what defense are we going to see? Are we going to see the defense that we saw the first half, maybe even the first little bit more than half of the season? Are we going to see that defense that really struggled to defend the middle and the defensive backfield? Are we going to see that defense? Because if so, like I mentioned earlier, we already know that these Eagles can score points. That's a no-brainer. But let's get into some stats. Let's talk a little bit about some stats. But before I do, I want to give a warm welcome to everyone who has already joined in the chat. I see you. Thank you for being here. I haven't set up my new live streaming setup all the way, but I will have it up by next time so I can put your comments on the screen. But for tonight, I'm just going to shout you all out. I see you, Agro Valley Farm, Lady Laura, Baltimore. Hope everybody had a lovely Thanksgiving. Thanks for joining. We have with us 86 Ghost, one of my great channel members, and my mom also is here. She's also a fabulous channel member. If you would like to become a channel member and support what I'm doing here at Ravens Talk with Yolanda, there is a join button where it will bring up multiple tiers that you can choose from if you'd like to donate or contribute to the channel. Anything helps, and I'm very appreciative. So thank you to my channel members who are here. And I see the Rogue Pod is here, starting trouble, kicking up dust everywhere he goes already. No one wants to see UF. We want to see the University of Florida. And for some strange reason, I think my Gators are going to win tomorrow, but I move on. That's not why we're here. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm going to give it a whirl. Javante, first of his name. I hope I said it right. If I didn't, correct me so I can get it right. Thanks for being here. Ravens are going to embarrass the Eagles. Ooh, I love it. I love the confidence. I come here primarily because I get a lot of, that confidence that I need, because some days I get a little nervous. And I'm going to be honest with you, fam. This game, I'm a little nervous for the reasons I mentioned before, but we'll dive into some stats. And no, Hendo from the Rogue Pod. No. We are not doing a 2-hour stream. Jeff J, thank you for being here. Ooh, he's already talking about our penalties. We got to have a penalty-free game. Ooh, now that's asking for a lot, Jeff. I was realistic. I said, let's limit the penalties, but we'll see. Yes, get a turnover. We need to see the defense. And Tucker for the win. Shout out to Jeff J. He has my whole script right here. We can close this shop down. Stream is over because everything that I was going to say, Jeff J just said it. Shout out to Agnes. Thank you. Thank you for the super sticker. Let me see if I can get my little thanks. Thank you. Agnes says, character holding their head in their hands, saying, you're my number one. Yes. I love that. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the super sticker, the $4.99. I appreciate it. Thank you. Sherry Love. Okay. Good evening. I don't know that I've seen your avatar before. So if this is your first time here, welcome. And for those of you who are joining, and this might be your first time over here at this channel, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you for coming by. And Sherry Love says, Eagles are the least of the problem, even if they win. Whew. The Chiefs Chiefs solidified themselves in the playoffs. I want to talk about that, Sherry. I don't know if it's Sherry or Cherry, but we're going to talk about it. I think it's called Cherry Love. So Cherry Love, we're going to talk about that toward the end. I'll give a little bit of a commentary on the Chiefs. And they made their way into the playoffs. I see. Kamal Porter, good evening. And John Parsons, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hopefully we have a good first quarter this time. Whew, that's what I'm talking about. We can't get off to the slow starts. This is not a team where we can play and come from behind. I'm not saying we can't do it because we have Lamar Jackson. So when you have 8 on that field, anything is possible. But if you can avoid having to put yourself in a situation where you're going up against this really good defense, right? You don't want your offense to have to struggle to get themselves back into the game. Just like John said, come out ready to play. Coach Harbaugh, that's on you. Have this team ready to go so that we come out firing on all cylinders. A couple of things I want to talk about in terms of our offense, right? Keys for us to win on offense. We know, before I do that, let me get into a couple of injuries. Let me talk about a couple of injuries. I always like to see the teams go into a game fully healthy or as close to fully healthy as possible. Because when I win like I'm out there on the field. When we win, okay, when our Ravens win and they beat that opposing team, I don't want it to be said, well, the only reason you won is because our superstar so-and-so wasn't on the field. I don't want to hear it. But we do have some notable injuries on both sides, right? So today we learned that Roquan Smith will play. Whew. Yes. Who knew that we would be saying, come on, Roquan Smith, we need you. But here we are. So Roquan Smith will be there. But those who are out, we already know. I did a video, I think I released it yesterday morning. Charlie Kolar. He broke his arm, bandaged that thing up, and came right back on the field and played against the Chargers. So we know that he is out. Arthur Maulet. Okay, well, whatever. If you happen to like Arthur Maulet, no shade here, I'm just saying. Michael Pierce, he returned to practice this week. We know he's been on IR, but we need all the help we can get going up against Saquon Barkley. Any defensive player that we can get out there to stop the run, we need them. And Michael Pierce returned to practice. He's listed as questionable. He's questionable for Sunday. That's going to be huge for us if we can get him, right? But I don't know. If we don't, that means Travis Jones, Nnamdi Madubuike, all the contract money that we paid Nnamdi, it needs to show in this upcoming game, especially if we don't have Pierce out there. And another one who is doubtful, Kyle Van Noy. Yeah, he is doubtful with a hamstring/neck injury. Did not practice at all this week. The odds of him playing on Sunday, not looking really good. So I'll start there. That's where I wanted to start with the injuries. Also, some injuries on for the Eagles. Devontae Smith, questionable. Now that's huge. That's a star wide receiver for them. That's one of. I know they have AJ Brown, but Devontae Smith is, he has 516 receiving yards right now. So that's a big loss if he doesn't play. Darius Slay, I think I saw a report today that came out a couple hours ago. He's out. He was listed as questionable with a concussion, but I think he's out. So, and then a couple of other ones, cornerback Kylie Ringo, he's questionable. And the other ones, a couple of defensive players, Brandon Graham, Bryce Huff, and Byron Young. Those are questionable players for Sunday. Now, that is where I want to start on offense for the Ravens. We know that this Eagles defense, they're ranked number 3 in pass defense, 7 in run defense. This is a really good team. Overall, this is a team that we need to make sure that we are firing on all cylinders. I think I said it earlier. We cannot start this game slowly. We can't start this game with the penalties, not with the dumb stuff. We won't be this is a defense that's so good at, they know how to get the job done, and they know they're not going to stop, right? They're not going to stop Derrick Henry, but ultimately their goal is to slow him down. And this is a team that can do it. So we need to control the time of possession, control the tempo, and like Jeff Jay and John Parsons said, limit the penalties. I'd like none, but I want to be realistic. Let's go out there and really, do better, because last game against the Chargers, we had 9 penalties for 102 yards. That was an improvement from the week before when we had 12 penalties. 12. Right? So this is not the time. This is not the team for that. So you got to know who your opponent is. You got to know your foe. This is a game where the offensive line, we've seen that they are good, but they're not great. They're just good enough. This is a team where we need to see the offensive line really take a step up this game. Especially now, we don't have Charlie Kolar coming out there to assist in blocking, and we don't have that. So who do we rely on now? Well, we rely on these offensive linemen who we have, who we drafted, who we paid, etc. That's what it's going to have to be. The penalties, they continue to negate positive plays. That's not going to work. It's really not. And this is a team, as I mentioned earlier, who've proven that they're able to get after the quarterback. They have, through the 10 games that they've played, they've already had their bye. They have 34 sacks and 47 tackles for loss. They can get to Lamar if our O-line is not ready. And if they are not moving the block, then it's going to be a long day, a long afternoon. So let's make sure that our O-line is ready and prepared. I'm going to look in the comments because I see you all. Make sure you hit the like button for me. Thank you all for being here. The Hawk TV. Danity, thank you for joining. Yes, that super chat is now enabled. That's right. If you'd like to show some love, I would really appreciate that. Thank you, Danity. Osmond, the O-line have to earn their pay this game. There's no other way around it. This is an aggressive defense. This defensive front is very aggressive. And what's our response going to be? Now, I also see you, Kush Princessa. I've never seen your avatar. If this is your first time, welcome. I must say Jalen Carter is a massive beast. Yeah, well, is constantly double teamed. We're going to see, we're going to have some answers. We're going to have to figure out some answers, right? We're going to have to figure out some answers. He's unreal. All right. Eagles fans here, thank you for being here. Looking forward to Sunday's game against the Ravens. That's what you meant to say. And I get you. You're going to see. We're going to show you something. We're going to get into score predictions. So if you are an Eagles fan, make sure you stick around because we are going to get into score predictions in just a bit. John Parsons says, we are the best team the Eagles will have played this year and vice versa. I do. I mentioned that earlier, John. I said this one to me is a litmus test, definitely for the Ravens. And I didn't mention that, this is a litmus test also for the Eagles. You need to look at the schedule. You're right. Who have you played? Really? Right? So this matchup, and why did they not flex this game? Why did we not get the prime time? This one right here should have been prime time. They should have flexed this one for sure. For sure. But going back to my point, Agra Valley Farm says the Ravens defense has been improving, which is good news. Yeah, we'll get into our defense in just a bit. But finally on offense, we know what we need to do. Todd Monken has to make sure that he's calling the right plays, leaving Derrick Henry on the field. Because for Derrick Henry, this is big. This is huge. Because for all of the season, pretty much, except for the last, game or so, he's been the leading rusher for the league. And now Saquon is. So, and he only leads it by, I think, let me see if I have it in my notes. It'll come to me. It's somewhere around here, but I don't see it right now. But I know it's not far off. They're not too far off from each other in terms of running back number 1 and running back number 2. So this is huge. Leave him on the field. So as I mentioned, Josh Sweat over there in the Eagles, he's got 7 sacks. 7. Defensive tackle, Jalen Carter. I think we were just talking about Jalen Carter. He's going to need to stay double teamed, and I can see why. Because he's got 3.5, along with Nolan Smith and defensive end Brandon Graham. I don't know if Graham is going to play, but if he does, he has 3.5 sacks. This is a team, like I said, they can get after the quarterback. O-line, you got your hands full. This upcoming game. We'll see. We'll see if they can do it. In terms of rushing, the Eagles only allow 4.3 yards per carry. And their ability to stop the run, we're going to need to see our O-linemen create significant lanes, making sure that they're able to block significantly. Last game, it was so cute to see when Lamar Jackson ran down the field and was blocking. on that one play for Derrick Henry. That just warmed my heart. We're going to need everybody on the field. Everyone. 86 Blackberry White. He said Brandon Graham is done for the year, sadly. Yeah, I mentioned him earlier. I didn't know if he was listed the other day when I was going through my notes as questionable, but yeah, torn tricep. Ooh, wow. Prayers up to him. I don't like any player getting, injured. 425 games rarely, if ever, get flexed, only the 1 o'clock games. Yeah, I know. It doesn't happen often, but this one to me was just one of those, you make an exception. Oh, his career's likely over? Oh, boy. He's out for the season. Thank you all. Thank you. Yeah, he's okay. So Brandon Graham, and I mean, like I said, he, prior to his injury, he had 3.5 sacks. But as I said before, this team can get after the quarterback. Keep my quarterback up right now. O-line, make sure that you keep Lamar Jackson upright. Eagles have some good playmakers on both sides of the ball. So our offense, we come out. One thing we've seen with our pass catchers, they have dropped passes. All of them. No fumbles. We've seen, I don't even want to relive it, but we've seen fumbles from our running backs. We've seen every catch is important, but we've seen drops, in crucial moments that really just changed the momentum for the Ravens. So those are the types of things that we should have been practicing. Ball security, figuring out. And I asked this question, if somebody has played football or you've coached it, let me know in the chat, because I really am. I'm asking, not to be crass and not to be funny. What does a team do in practice when you have penalties like this? If you are coaching this game, if you're coaching this team, what would you do? If you see week after week, your team continues just to go out there and collect penalties like a souvenir, what do you do to try and figure out a way? And most of them have been offensive penalties. We do have some on the defense. Yes, we do have defensive PIs. We do have holding. We have those too. But a lot of them have been on the offensive line. So they need to figure that out in practice, right? But yeah, Agnes brought it to, yes, that's right. That catch last week from Bateman was golden. That's what we need to see this week. The chemistry between Rashad Bateman and Lamar Jackson has really started to come together and take shape. That's great, because we need everybody. To win this game, it's all hands on deck. I don't see this as a blowout from either team. This is an all hands on deck. Now, here I'm going to turn the tide, switch over to our defense going up against the Eagles offense. This is where I think that the game could really get away from us, right? Eagles are ranked 7th in the league in scoring. That might have changed I did my research a couple of days ago, but they're pretty good. Very, top 10 in scoring. This is a team who can score. No questions asked. We know they can put points up. And how are they able to do it? Well, you've got Jalen Hurts at quarterback, who's got 2376 in terms of passing yards, 13 passing touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Lamar Jackson has 3 interceptions, and not one of those is his fault, I might add. But you know what? It's on his stat sheet, so to be fair, I will mention it. I will note that. And not only that, they have Saquon Barkley. Saquon, like I mentioned earlier, currently leads the league in rushing yards, but not by much, because we have Derrick Henry, who is coming for that. He wants that. I know he does. He wants that title. He wants that. But with Saquon Barkley, here we go. 1392, his rushing yards, and not far behind him, I think it was 13. I said it in my last video. I don't remember where Derrick Henry ranks, but he's somewhere right around that number. He's not too far off. So not only that, they have A.J. Brown. Even with, as I mentioned earlier, Smith not being a question mark, you still have A.J. Brown. And right now, A.J. Brown, he leads their team. He leads the Eagles with 727 receiving yards. That's a very, very good number. So similar numbers to our Zay Flowers. So we have a A.J. Brown in, Zay Flowers. So we're going to need Zay Flowers to step up. But I had already moved over to, their defense. I'm sorry, our defense, their offense. So I'm going to stay focused because I don't want my little rabbit coming out here telling me that I'm not being focused on this. My little rabbit, if I start going down a rabbit hole, that's kind of what happens. See, there you go. Anyway, so we know our defense has struggled this season. As I mentioned earlier, we know that. But the last couple of games, we've seen a turnaround in them. Zach Orr is starting to play our players in the proper position, and they're succeeding in that. Question came up, I see. Roquan Smith is he expected to play? He is. He was a full participant today in practice. And yes, Hendo from the Rogue Pod, Henry has played one more game. He's played one more game because the Eagles have had their bye. We don't get our bye until after we play the Eagles. So we've seen an improvement, especially in our secondary. And that's no small thanks to our recent addition, and by recent, I mean at the trade deadline, of cornerback. I always mess that man's name up. I want to call him Tre'Davious, but it's Tre'Davious White. He's come in and earned himself some more snaps. He's playing very well. So now Brandon Stephens, well, okay. Hey, Florence, I see you. Thank you for being here. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. But yes, the rabbit, that's my cue for me to stay focused because I can just start going on a tangent. But our middle linebackers, they've done much better. It was good to see Malik Harrison this past week. I was so happy for him because early on, I saw a lot of people on X saying, get Malik Harrison off my screen, primarily because we weren't using him properly. Why are we dropping him into coverage so often? Same thing with Roquan. We need those players, Roquan Smith, Malik Harrison, to make sure that Saquon Barkley is stopped, stop the run. Concentrate your efforts right there because you know that that's what they're going to do. This is primarily a team like ours, very much built like ours, a run-first team, but they have weapons where they can pass the ball efficiently and effectively too. So, our middle linebackers, long as we don't put them in coverage, we should be fine. We should. We have our ultimate chess piece in Kyle Hamilton. Shout out to Kyle Hamilton, who wore the green dot effortlessly last week. And, when Roquan Smith missed I think it was his first game since he's been a Raven. But when Roquan Smith was not there, defense still did a fantastic job. So one thing that I think we can really kind of take advantage, where the Ravens, I think, can take advantage is since Jason Kelce's retirement, the offensive line for the Eagles has just really not been the same. Still a good offensive line, but I think we can take advantage there. And what I mean by that is there just seems to be less fluidity and less protection for Jalen Hurts. He's been sacked 29 times in excuse me, this season. Last year, through 17 games, he was sacked 36 times. And so these teams are finding ways to get after the quarterback. And they're not just getting pressure on Jalen Hurts, they're able to sack Jalen. So that's where I think we can take advantage of this. I don't want to call it struggling offensive line, but maybe not as good as last year with Jason Kelce. So that means for the Ravens defense, we know that Kyle Van Noy is listed as doubtful. That brings me to the question. Leave a comment in the chat if you are watching this on replay. Thank you. Leave a comment down below and let me know. If Kyle Van Noy is out, my question to you, does David Ojabo play? I'm not trying to be funny. He's been a healthy scratch for several weeks, but that's because we had Kyle Van Noy. What if we don't have him this week? Do we now have to rely on, Odafe Owe, which my guy can certainly get the job done, but he needs some help. He can't just be out there doing it and holding down the fort all by himself. So do we now allow David Ojabo to come out there? Let me see if I have some stats on Ojabo. Or is he going to be a healthy scratch again? So it just depends. It just depends. And honestly, depending on what type of defensive package we run, Kyle Hamilton has 2 sacks. Brandon Stephens, he has 1.5. So these are These are questions and these are things that I'm going to be looking for on Sunday. Certainly, for sure. Who's going to be tagged or tasked with getting after the quarterback, getting Jalen Hurts? Because that's the way we're not going to stop Saquon Barkley, but we can certainly slow him down. And we can slow down Jalen Hurts. The way to do it, pressure up the middle, pressure coming off the edge and sacking this man. That's the way to do it. That's the recipe. Game over. And without Kyle Van Noy, that's what I want to know. What's going to happen? And one other thing, as Deshaun86 mentioned, and it was mentioned earlier in the stream, we need turnovers. We need turnovers. Our defense has to generate that. We know Marlon Humphrey is leading our team with interceptions, but it's high time that some other players get an interception. What about one this week for Kyle Van Noy? I'm sorry, for Kyle Hamilton, Tre'Davious White, somebody. I would say Brandon Stevens, but I don't want to go too far with it. I don't want to go too far. Good evening, Jose. One half of Lunch Break Hot Take. Make sure you go over to his channel and subscribe. He and his brother do an amazing show every Wednesday, and you'll want to go check them out. If you happen to like football and you really like the Ravens and the Panthers, go over there and check him out. Click on his avatar, take you to his page. And also the Road Pod, I didn't plug your channel earlier. He does awesome content here on YouTube as well. Click on his avatar. He's going to give you the real deal. Florence with Equip Institute and Brandon Bozell. Those are the ones that I've seen in here. If there's any other, charge it to my head and not my heart. But yeah, it's going to be a game where I'm interested to see who steps up alongside Odafe Owe. Odafe has 8 sacks, so does Kyle Van Noy. But if he's out, who's going to be his biggest compliment? What about Desmond King? Good question. Yeah, we activated him. We signed him to the practice squad. I've not heard of any elevation from the practice squad. Let me know in the chat if there have been and I missed it. But that's the last I heard on him. All pro in 2018. I don't know if he still got it. Maybe he does. We'll see. But I think he's more of a reserve player. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But I'm more concerned about who's going to take over for Kyle Van Noy. That's my question for this game. Yeah. Oh, Agnes said Wiggins. Wiggins can get a pick. Yes. There you go. So that's it. Tavius. I thought about Tavius Robinson, John. I did. And he's been good. He has. But is he ready to really be out there without the veteran presence of Kyle Van Noy and know how to be very aggressive and get the sack? If the answer is yes, come on, Tavius. Come on, let's see it. Let's go. But, as I mentioned, this is a team who likes to run the ball. So our front seven, they're going to have their hands full. Just like our offensive line, they have their hands full. Same thing. That's what I'm looking for. That's what we need. I expect this team to run the ball a lot or attempt to run the ball a lot. We are amazing at stopping the run. We are, I think when I looked at the stats the other day, it was either we were top 1 or top 2 in, being our run defense. Pass defense, okay, now why you had to go there? That's a whole nother chapter of a whole different book for a totally different day. Pass defense, let me just say, we're working on it, okay? We're working on it. This could be that get-right game for the Ravens in terms of our defense putting it all together. Not having such a disparity, that's the word. Not having such a disparity between our ability to stop the run and defend against the pass. Let's kind of bridge that divide so that our pass defense can kind of catch up just a bit. That would be nice. And let's do it this week against the Eagles. I see you, Big Reg. Thank you for being here. Go over to his channel when you're coming back to the YouTube streets. We need to hear from you. We need to hear from you, sir. So I hope you come back soon. But click on his avatar and check out the work that he has done here on YouTube. All right, so one thing, the defense has to stop leaving that field wide open. Yes, that's it. We have to. Exactly, Agnes. That's going to be key for us. Defending the middle of the field, defending the defensive backfield, not giving up chunk plays, getting, and being able to effectively and efficiently cover those speedy wide receiver and making sure that we're not covering to the point where we're getting defensive PI. That's it. That's it. Question was asked by 86 Blackberry White. What did we think of Quinion Mitchell? Okay. Rogue Pod said he's solid. He's going to be a good one. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing from him. I'm hearing that Quinion Mitchell is pretty good. So I expect him to shadow Flowers most of the game. Good luck. Good luck. That'll be a good matchup. But I will say this. Good luck. That is one. Zay Flowers, I will tell you, that is one shifty young man. And not only is he shifty, speedy, this is a wide receiver in Flowers who is going to fight for yards after the catch. He doesn't just give up. He doesn't just catch the ball and just avoid contact. He doesn't do that. He's not afraid of it. And matter of fact, he invites it. He welcomes it. So good luck. Good luck. You got you know, the Eagles in that regard, they've got a task in front of them. But in terms of, like I said, their offense, they're going to pass the ball evenly too. They have A.J. Brown, and even with the absence of Smith, they're still going to use that. I expect us to double team. I expect Zach Orr to have a plan to double team. Whenever we see A.J. Brown out there, we need to we need to be ready with double team for him. He's just such a good player that he's going to command that. He is. So, and we've seen our secondary struggle with covering speedy elite wide receivers. That's something that we've seen. But like I said, this could be that game where we put it all together. And we have been. We've been doing better. So I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful in that regard. As last thing, hey, Joey, thank you for being here. Thank you. We are about to get out of here, but wanted to take just a couple seconds to mention special teams. That is something. Thank goodness, right, that Justin Tucker was flawless last game. He needed that to boost his confidence, because we know as Ravens fans, we've always relied on Justin Tucker, Mr. Dependable, until this season, where he has just been, I want to say hit or miss, but it's mostly been misses up until recently. So if last week was any indication of him trending forward in a better direction, we'll certainly need him this game. So that's it. Coaches, whew, come on, John Harbaugh. We don't play the Eagles very often, but this is, the Eagles seem to be a very disciplined, well-coached team. We equally need to be that this upcoming Sunday. And in the unlikely event that we have the coaching blunders that we are familiar with John Harbaugh, we have to be able to win despite him. And the way we do that is for Lamar Jackson to really take command of this offense. There we go. Agro Valley Farm says, I think Trey White will be assigned to A.J. Brown. Yeah. Trey White, he needs to, because I don't want to see Brandon Stephens out there on an island by himself with A.J. Brown. I don't want to see that. Okay. I'm going to move on from Brandon Stephens. So he's certainly, in terms of White, he's certainly earned the ability to do it. He's played good snaps for us anytime he's there. So yeah, let's do that. 86 Blackberry White. Yolanda, do you know Simone from this with the sports? Yes, she is a diehard Eagles fan. You both seem highly knowledgeable about your respective teams. Oh goodness, awesome that you asked that. It was preseason. In preseason, when we played the Eagles, she was so gracious to come on the channel and we previewed the game between the Ravens and the Eagles. The Eagles, you guys, y'all won. We came in second place, but I had her here on the channel. She was a guest. And yes, she's wonderful. She's doing great. And she is a diehard Eagles fan. She knows her stuff. And it was a joy to have her on. I will send her a message this week and may the best team win. And fun fact, I'm giving you the answer. Ravens gonna win. But moving on. Let me get your score predictions. Thank you all for sticking around for these last almost 40 minutes. Leave me your score predictions in the chat. Type fast. Let me know who you think is going to win and what the score will be. Mine, okay. As I said earlier, I don't see this one being a blowout. I don't. I could be wrong, but I think this is a game where the defense on both sides will really have to step up big time because we have two teams that can score at will. That being said, we are playing at home at the bank. Lamar Jackson doesn't lose to NFC teams other than that one time against the Giants. So with that, I am taking my Ravens. I'm going to see your score because I don't want y'all to take my answer. Joey, I will say that you are very close to mine. You are very close to my score. But I will say, I think the Ravens come out with the win. And I'm going with 31-28 Baltimore. Joey says 30-23. I can see that. Yeah, this is not going to be the type of game where we see I don't think we're going to see a Jackson 5 this week. I would love to, but I don't see it. This is a very good defense, and we've been known to, gather penalties. I would love to see a Jackson 5, but I don't think it's going to happen. Ravens 27, Eagles 21, says Agnes. I can see that. I can see it. And Florence from Equip Institute says she thinks this one's going to be very, very close. 30-27. All right. See, 30-27 makes me a little nervous, right? Primarily because this is a team that can turn on the Jets at any moment. I don't want it to be that close, but I could see it. I can. And make sure you come back this Sunday where myself and Hendo from the Rogue Pod will live stream the game for you. So you will get live play-by-play reaction as the game unfolds. And so if it's 30-20, you're going to see me you're real nervous. You're going to see me real nervous on Sunday. Jeff J., he agrees with you, Florence. He says 30-27. Oh, yeah. Big Reg. Now, see, I like this one, Big Reg. 38-17. I like it, but as good as this Eagles offense has been, and as up and down as our Ravens defense has been, you think we can hold them to 17 points? And if so, how do we do it? Who has a very big game for us on defense for us to hold the Eagles to 17 points? I'd love to see it. I'd love it if it happened. It would be a relaxing, restful, not stressful game, but I just don't know. I don't know, but I'm with you. Well, ladies, gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining and hanging out with me. Listen, tomorrow, think about me, say something nice, shout out to the Florida Gators because we need all the help we can get playing our nemesis, those Florida State Seminoles. I don't even like to say their names. Kel FBZ, I don't know that I've seen you before. If you're new, welcome. I see you said 30-17 Eagles. Ooh. I don't mind. Yes, Joey, we do think alike. I don't mind scores, but I just need to understand. I'm very analytical. I look at evidence and I just want to know, Kel, I'm gonna call you Kel. I hope it's okay. Kel, what evidence do you have to substantiate 30-17? We're talking Lamar Jackson here. I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. So I just need to see some evidence. How do you stop a team with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry? How do you hold them to 17 points? That's going to be interesting. But I want you to do me a favor. Kel, do me a favor. Would you? On Sunday, if you would please come by either during the show or if you want to watch the game with someone else, that's fine. Come by after. Because myself and Hendo will come after the show, after the game, and we will give you our post-game recap. I want you to come by. I just want to hear from you. And I want to ask you, how did that age for you? 30-17. I'm that confident in my Ravens that we're putting up more than 17 points. That's all I got to say. He says, I just don't think y'all seen a defense like ours. And I don't think you've seen an offense like ours. And our offense like ours, but we'll see. I'll be back Sunday. I want you to. I'll say, I can't argue with you in terms of our defense. We have amazing talent and an amazing ability to stop the run. We sure do, which is what your strength is on offense, ironically. So as long as our players play their style and their brand of football and continue to do what we've done all season, which is not allow the run game to develop, we'll be fine. We will be fine. Antoine Mays, yes, it is a big game. This is a big game for both teams. I said earlier, a litmus test for both. But I want you to come back, Kel, because I'm going to be looking for you. I'm going to say, wait, now, where is Kel? I haven't seen Kel. But yes, definitely come back. Ladies, gentlemen, yeah, that's right, Antoine. We have 8. When you have let me get this thing. Is this working? Yeah, okay. When you have Lamar Jackson, amazing things happen when you have 8. Remember that. Bug-Eye Josh. That's a cute name. Bug-Eye Josh. Not against an O-line like the Eagles, though. Okay. Well, we're talking Eagles defense. Yeah. Living legend. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. That O-line is tough, though. They're okay. But when you talk about the O-line, other teams have managed to find a way to sack Jalen Hurts. So there's that. So I just think the fact that he's been sacked, what did I tell you? 29 times? Let me see. Was it 29 times? Something like, 29 times. And this is, we're not even, we still have several more games left in the season. Whereas last year, your O-line was able to, hold the line much better, where he only had 36. Well, he had 36 sacks for the entire season. So if Odafe Oweh gets after Jalen 1 or 2 or 3 times this game, it's going to be a long night. Ravens will run the table all day. I love it. I hope so. I appreciate you, Antoine. Thank you. Opening up the run, yeah, I get you. So, well, thank you for being here. Thanks for joining. Do me a favor, would you? If you would go ahead, hit the like button for me. It helps the channel a lot. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget, Hendo and I from the Rogue Pod will be here on Sunday afternoon. We're going to live, we're going to play-by-play reaction to this game. Hopefully it's going to be a victory for the Ravens. And I hope to see all of my wonderful Eagles friends here. I want to see you on Sunday. I'll be looking for you. So I hope you come back. Well, anyway, you all take care. Enjoy your evening. Stay safe. And you know what I'm going to say. Always, always, go Ravens. God bless.